Hey, Maniac, it's me Ian, and in today's video we're going to do another Hammer film. Now this is Maniac from 1963, and it would be described really as a psychological thriller, but there is a lot of implied horror and brutality in this. It's not a very graphic film, but it's still there. So therefore, I think that's why it's probably not counted as a horror film as such. But there's certainly a lot of atmospheric horror elements in this. And of course, what happens, the violence particularly, is very much brutal. So let me get into this film. It is 86 minutes long. It's black and white, and Rotten Tomatoes give it 53%. That's 53%. And it's written by Jimmy Sangster and produced by him as well, another Hammer stalwart. And he's directed by Michael Carreras, and another Hammer name, as you know, producer as well. He incidentally directed The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, 1963, and was a co-director in Blood from the Mummy's Tomb, 1971, with Seth Holt. This is an interesting Hammer film in terms of the location work that is done. It was filmed in the Camargue in the south of France. Also, there was studio work at Boreham Wood and Bray Studios. So we've got that. But the location work in the south of France is really impressive, and particularly the end scenes as well. Amazing, absolutely amazing, and it really builds up to a tremendous climax. It's almost got that Hitchcockian kind of feel, which Alfred Hitchcock did in so many of his films, building to this powerful climax and the scene at the end. And we've got that here. It's amazing. It really is. So let me also look now at the cast. The cast is headed by Kerwin Matthews, who plays Jeff Farrell, the Englishman character. He took the lead as Sinbad in the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad from 1958. He was also in the Hammer film, The Pirates of Blood River from 1962, which had Christopher Lee and Oliver Reed in that. He had a sort of varied career with TV films, never sort of massive starring though, even though of course he had been he was the star of Sinbad. His last film was a horror film, interestingly, called Nightmare in Blood from 1978. Then the big female lead, it is Nadia Gray, who plays Eve. I think undoubtedly when you see her, she's almost got, this is the ability that Hammer had. They could really pick their female lead actresses, and wow, she stands out again. She is really outstanding. She did have quite a history as a career as well. She was Romanian born, and career does really consist of a lot of European kind of films, as well as involved in this country as well. Um, she's fantastic. She looks great. There's something about her. In fact, she really, to me, actually leads the film in just something elevated about her, that gives her like a Hollywood stardom feel about her, even though she's um, not a Hollywood star, but she just has a lot of experience in some really interesting films. Um, in this country, she was involved in a film called The Spider and the Fly from 1949, and that was considered, it was a very well received film in terms of what it did, and she was outstanding in that film, and that's from 1949. But of course, she was really well known for La Dolce Vita, which is a Fellini film, Italian cinema, the darling of the art house and many others. Fellini, 1960, this comedy kind of film, but it's because it's much more than that. It's a wonderful film, and she's in that. Fantastic. She shines so well. Um, she was. I think this is a final film, and a film called The Naked Runner from 1967, and that starred Frank Sinatra. And it's a spy espionage film. She did kind of retire, so she didn't have a particularly um, big film presence into the 70s and what have you. She went to America, and apparently she forged a career as a singer as well. So there's an interesting point. But she was never back into acting. Then we've got another character who stands out. It is Donald Houston, who plays Henri. He's, I suppose you could consider, one of the villains of the film. His history is interesting in films. Room at the Top, 1959. It's an important British film. He was in, yes, we've got a link, Carry On Jack, 1963. Carry On Jack. He was in another great war film, 633 Squadron, 1964. And of course, he was in Where Eagles Dare. Yes, I love Where Eagles Dare. And yes, he was in that. And also, he was in, which is, I think, an unusual kind of film. I think this even could have been his last film. He was in Clash of the Titans, 1981, which is a fascinating fantasy film, with the gods and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, then we have Lillian Bruce. I'm not very good at a French accent there. But she plays Annette. She's excellent in this. She's a French actress who's, she adds so much in this role because she's an important part of it. But she gets so overshadowed by Nadia Gray. That is the only problem I see in this. I mean, she's good in it, but Nadia Gray is so outstanding that, she's just fantastic. Anyway, she's in that role. That's quite an important role as well. Then we've got Georges Pastel playing Inspector Etienne. Now, Georges Pastel is a face you would think, wow, I've seen him in. What film have I seen him in? Well, I'll tell you what films you've seen him in. Saw him in The Mummy, 1959, Hammer film. You saw him in another Hammer film, The Stranglers of Bombay, 1959. You saw him in The Curse of the Mummies, too, 1964. He's a Hammer man, yes, so recognisable. And I suppose he just stands out. And he's always just that performance, he's always there with him. He plays the inspector, and he's great. I really think he's good. Yeah, he's in this. And then we've got another face that you think, oh, I've seen him before. It's a British character actor called Norman Bird. He plays Salon. He's the rather French characters in the bar, the policeman who's sort of a local policeman. Unfortunately for the actor Norman Bird, his voice was dubbed. They didn't think he had a very good French accent. It'd be like me going, hey, Maniac. So they put this French accent on him to give him that French. I don't think he knew until he saw the film final rush, It's amazing, isn't it? Anyhow, Norman Bird has a Hammer history. Yes, he was in Hands of the Ripper, 1971, which is a really good Hammer film. That is excellent, Hands of the Ripper, 1971. He was in another film that we reviewed fairly recently, The Medusa Touch, 1976. Fantastic film that is, isn't it? Then Omen 3. Omen 3. I love all the Omen films. And he's in that. That's the last one. With Sam Neill. Excellent. I love it. I love that. That film gets a lot of criticism. I think I really love the whole trilogy. I think it's a really strong trilogy. Then, this is just a personal one. He's in a film called Shadowlands, 1993. And you say, yeah, why is that personal? Well, I actually saw that being filmed it's nearly about less than 10 minutes away is the Great Central Railway, and they filmed some of the scenes on there, and we went to see them and watch them being filmed. And as Anthony Hopkins was there as C.S. Lewis, and Deborah Winger was on this film as well. And was Richard Attenborough directing it, because Richard Attenborough is fairly local, comes from Leicester. So the Attenboroughs are quite well known. But yeah, that's my one bit of fame on an actual film set, I think. That's the one I can think of. But yes, that's it. Shadowlands, 1993. But then, I just want to add that he was also in Hammer House of Horror, 1980, an episode of that. And he was in the 1984 Hammer House of Mystery and Suspense, in one of my absolute favourite stories, which is the Black Carrion story. Fantastic story, that. Anyway, I'm going off. You're thinking, he's going on a bit. So, basically, what is this film about? It's about this American artist who becomes involved in the lives of Eve and stepdaughter Annette. The film starts off with this terrible assault, rapes. We don't see it, but we know it's there. And the revenge that is played on the perpetuator of this, the one who's done it. The perpetrator, that's the word, yes. And he, of course, is the husband of Eve. And the assault is on stepdaughter Annette. And this is how the story builds, and the idea that they'll go to the asylum and spring him out, and that's how the story unfolds. But all is not on what it seems, and wonderful twists and turns in the story that make you think, wow, this is... What I like about it, once it gets into this other bit, you start to think, wow, where's this film going? Well, it's so good. This is a great film to watch, enjoy. I say, the photography is fantastic. The wide scope scenes that we see, amazing stuff. And then mixed with the studio, what Hammer were brilliant at doing. So I would highly recommend this film. If you're interested in Hammer, all that kind of thing, then this still shouldn't put you off. If you're thinking, well, it's not a horror film, hey, buy it. But it's got a lot of the traits of the horror film in there. It's great. It's brilliant. Highly recommended. Now, its release is here. This is Indicator 2020 release of this film. Some great extras in here, and we've got the, look at that disc art on there, fantastic, brilliant, highly recommended. So pleased to have this in my collection. I love this film. I really enjoyed it so much. Yes, it's great. Oh, anyhow, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and we'll let you know when I produce these videos. And also, if you like it, please give it a like. Then we can hopefully get in the algorithms, and more people might enjoy my videos. You know, all that I do, and all these film reviews and TV series and all that. And if you got any comments, please put your comments down. I love to read your comments, and it's great. And I say it all costs no. I say that all the time, but it's true. It don't cost no. You know, it's great, and I just love to making these videos. I do. I really love. So there it is. All I gotta say is, I'll see thee again.